All right, still here. Detroit is different at the Just Lead Conference. We're talking diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I have somebody that I definitely look up to, somebody that I'm creative with, somebody that actually is in the mix of so many things of culture. But when we think about diversity, equity, and inclusion, this may have been the woman that brought it back to you when you were like, what is this concept? Freda Sampson, how you doing today?
I am so well. How are you this morning, Khary? It is good to see you and be in your company, man.
Definitely,
yes,
always.
Indeed.
I love it. The question that I have when you see this topic just has become more and more magnified, definitely in the region, even throughout the United States, and even going globally now. What were the strides and the things that happened? Was it always the tragedies of the George Floyd, or was it things that just corporations and organizations are more so waking up to the value of having a diverse workspace, business space, engagement with the community?
Yeah, so that's a great question. And if we really look at kind of the evolution of diversity, equity, and inclusion, we can really trace it back to the late 50s, early 60s in terms of how it began to evolve. And initially it was about staying out of trouble. So when, during civil rights, during the legislative time where laws were being enacted, companies were working hard to figure out how to stay out of trouble, to not get sued, right?
Yeah.
And so that really, even though we've been talking about equality and equity forever, that was really kind of the entry point of the momentum around corporations and organizations really delving in. And then it went from staying out of trouble to can't we all just get along? So when we start getting around to the 70s and 80s particularly, how do we just get along? We're not really unpacking diversity for what it is, but we're just trying to synergize that space where we can agree to be tolerant, to be civil with one another. And then as you kind of evolve forward, we find ourselves in this current place of understanding that the business case is more than the business case, that it's indeed an imperative. It's a part of kind of how we look forward from a global perspective, where we're connecting head, heart, and hand. And so businesses are clear. Data has consistently driven us to that understanding that without equity and inclusion, diversity is not sustainable. So you can bring in a bunch of different type of cultures and identities into a space, but if you are not working intentionally to create an equitable space, to create a space where inclusion is the core of the organizational culture, it won't be sustainable. And so yes, the thrust of the tragic murder in front of our eyes of George Floyd really enacted for many organizations and companies a different urgency. They knew, we knew, right? But the urgency was upgraded significantly because of that tragedy. And now we're in this space where millennials and Zers are saying, I'm not going to work for a company that doesn't have a progressive equity and inclusion, a justice and belonging agenda with a clear mission statement. And that has also driven the workforce because the generations coming in are saying, I'm not going to work for you if you don't see this as a value and speak to it as such.
And that's deep, being that you've seen this evolution over time and been present. Like when we think of this region, Detroit, Southeast Michigan, what are some of the things that you like that you're seeing? And then also the flip side, what are you not liking that you're seeing?
You know, so some of the things that I like that I'm seeing generally within the framework of why we're here today is certainly that more corporations are poking at it, are looking at it, are engaging what it means to be an equitable company, to be an equitable workspace, a culture of inclusion. What I'm still anticipating and hopeful that will occur is that it does not become a space of lip service, because we know that can happen. If I print the right words, if I say the right things, that doesn't necessarily require me to have to propel and integrate the purpose of equity and inclusion into the core of our institutions, into our policies, into our practices. We still have a phenomenal amount to do around deconstructing systems, right, that have created these environments that make it that make this division, this divisiveness, this nuance that we're experiencing in this present day with language and othering, that makes it continue to live. So until we're able to truly impact systems, we still have a long way to go. We can talk the talk, but we must walk the walk.
Thank you so much. As always, wonderful.
Thank you. I love being here with you. You know that. It's
Yes.
good to see you, my friend.
Definitely.
All right.